Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Brittany Flowers.
And I'm George Smith. We want to welcome you to our Honoring Black History special.
For the next half hour, we're taking a look at stories focused on the past, present, and future of the Black community in West Michigan in honor of Black History Month.
That includes the traveling artist, a Michigan native, showcasing his artwork and sharing his lifetime of experiences seeing the world from Harlem to Africa.
And a recording of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is lost and then found at Western Michigan University. We'll tell you more about how it's being preserved.
But first, travel has not always been easy for African Americans. Far from it. That's why during an era of segregation, the Negro Motorist Green Book became a vital tool to help prevent dangerous, difficult, and uncomfortable situations for Black travelers across the U.S.
Researchers are currently looking into how many of the sites in the book are still standing, several of which were right here in West Michigan.
I've been here since 2009, so I've been here 20-some years.
When Janet Cunningham moved into this home in Three Rivers, she had no idea how much rich history the property holds.
Well, after I got it, and I had a guy knock on the door, and he said, "Do you care if we take pictures?" And I said, "For what?"
Her home is one of approximately 250 sites in Michigan that were listed in the Negro Motorist Green Book.
Canada, Mexico, Caribbean, and then they expanded it, over the years.
Christine Byron has been researching Green Book sites for more than a decade and has photos of almost half of them.
That was one of the places in Grand Rapids, the Southern Kitchen Shack.
The book was a travel guide for African Americans, published from 1936 to 1966. Its pages listing safe places for Black people during a time of segregation.
There were 97 in Detroit, 44 in Idlewild. For example, in Grand Rapids, there were only 2.
The Southern Kitchen Shack, which once stood near Charles and Logan, and Villa Motor Court on South Division have both long since been demolished.
Unfortunately, a lot of them are not still standing.
For 3 decades, though, these hotels, restaurants, beauty and barber shops, nightclubs, resorts, and beaches offered protection and guidance for Black folks across the nation.
And things that we take for granted, oh yeah, let's go on a little trip, we'll find a tourist cabin or a motel to stay at. It wasn't that easy.
Though she can't speak to the African American struggle, Byron is passionate about keeping this history alive.
Like so many things related to African American history,
the attention of the Michigan State Historic Preservation Office.
But we were able to locate these roads,
which received a grant last summer to research the sites.
But nobody's really looked at the more rural areas to see how many of these places still exist.
Katie Kolakithis and her colleague Nathan Niedering are leading the project.
Red are gone, and yellow are the ones we're still trying to hunt down.
Some of the sites are well known in their communities, which makes it easy to get information. Others, not so much.
Some of them, we have to spend hours and hours and hours in archives, going through historic newspapers, city directories, even deed records, property records, to try to figure out who owned properties when. We know that there's probably going to be some that we never find. And then there's whole communities like the Lansing, where we are located, that every single one in Lansing is gone.
In addition to the home in Three Rivers, we stopped by 2 sites in Battle Creek. The owner of the first property said the former tourist home was demolished several years ago. The owner of the second was unaware of their home's history. Kolakithis and her team hope to change that.
As a field, we really want to broaden what we know is important and be able to recognize the impact that those places had.
When the research is complete, a contractor will photograph and document every property that's still standing. The goal is to create a pathway for property owners to have their properties listed on the National Register. They expect to be wrapped up by the spring of 2027.
A museum in Michigan has a new exhibit featuring an artist from Grand Rapids, Paul Collins. It'll be on display through Black History Month. I had a chance to sit down with Collins for his thoughts on the exhibit and more. Inside the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History in Detroit, you'll find an exhibition called Paul Collins, the Traveling Artist. It features his work from around the world, from Harlem in New York to countries in Africa.
My art talks to people and asks people questions and asks them to be a part of who we are. And it tells them something of them, where they are, who they are and where they're going.
Collins recently turned 90 years old. He's still painting and traveling, and he visited the museum in Detroit in December.
It's been really thrilling to open this show. I think particularly because Paul Collins was able to come to our reception, our opening event, and to have him speak to his own history and perspective, and also be in the gallery when people were visiting the work.
Jennifer Evans selected the paintings for the exhibit. She described what makes Collins unique.
When he encounters different people in different places, people that don't look like him, instead of seeing division or an other, instead he looks with empathy, inclusivity. He sees togetherness and all the things that make humans humans.
We all came from the same creator. And it's time we appreciate it, and it's time we respect it, because that's the truth.
At his home in Grand Rapids, Collins reflected on his career and the country.
Right now, I think a lot of people are trying to divide us. And we can't let them happen, because you can't lose our democracy. If you ever lose our democracy, you'll probably never get it back again.
And he's proud of his journey.
When I look around this room and see some of the things I've been part of, this makes me feel so good inside.
Paul Collins' exhibit will be on display at the Wright Museum in Detroit until March 2nd.
For the last decade, the Grand Rapids African American Museum has been providing a window into the past. The museum started as a traveling exhibit 10 years ago before moving into its current space on Monroe Center. The variety and amount of items in its collection continues to grow, which is why they're in search of a new building to call home. More space will allow staff to offer more educational programming and display more historic artifacts.
You can imagine 40 school kids in here or 30 adults, you know, it gets really packed. So one of the things is really just finding space for us to be able to keep our programming going and expand that.
Although the museum is admission-free now, Byard says that could change as they expand. He's optimistic they'll be in a new space by the end of the year.
Up next, decades after the civil rights leader's death, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is continuing to inspire young people. How his message is living on in West Michigan.
And Dr. King's legacy is also living on at Western Michigan University. More about the preservation of a lost and found recording of the civil rights leader. Welcome back to our Honoring Black History special. A previously lost tape, photos, and newspaper clippings preserve the story of one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s handful of visits to Michigan.
Josh Sanchez has more on how the recordings bring Dr. King's message to life amid a time of great change across the U.S.
For nearly 30 years, a recording of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech at Western Michigan University was lost until it was rediscovered in 1997. I believe we will be able to emerge from the bleak and desolate midnight of man's inhumanity to man into the bright and glittering daybreak of freedom and justice. These are but some of the words spoken by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during his December 18, 1963 visit to Western Michigan University. Back then, instances of students challenging racial discrimination have been going on for several decades.
So I know that there were rumblings, even back at the late 40s into the 50s. But I think by the time you get into the 60s, students are questioning a lot of things about culture and society.
Sharon Carlson, former director of the Zhang Legacy Collection Center, created a website detailing the speech that is now a research guide. As protests against segregation were at a height, students invited the then Mississippi Governor Ross Barnett, a staunch segregationist, to speak on campus that September.
I would simply like to say that
Martin Luther King Jr. was invited for an early December visit, but the assassination of President John F. Kennedy changed plans.
Both Ross Barnett, the governor of Mississippi, and Dr. King we're both trying to visit a lot of college campuses, but I've always thought that Dr. King must have been particularly committed to this appearance at Western.
King's speech echoed in Reed Fieldhouse, where 2,000 people lined the bleachers.
our little black boys and black girls will be able to join.
It was just 4 months after his I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C.
I have a dream today.
In 1968, King was shot and killed in Memphis, Tennessee. His voice was heard on the airways again when public radio station WMUK rebroadcasted his speech in the aftermath. That recording would be lost until 1997, when Carlson said it was found at an East Side Kalamazoo grocery store. Philip Novus, grandson of the store owner, restored the recording with another audio production business owner. That recording made its way back to the university and WMUK.
They were actual tapes. They created a cassette tape for me, and we were doing the transcriptions from the cassette tapes. So we had the speech, we had the introductory remarks, we had the question and answer session.
While King's Kalamazoo visit was brief, Carlson says it established a legacy. Students were quick to demand aid that made college accessible for everyone. Efforts that turned into scholarship programs that continue to this day.
You know, it wasn't real surprising that, students, when he was assassinated, were clearly shocked and wanted to try and make some positive things come out of this very unfortunate situation.
The Zhang Legacy Collection Center houses much more to this visit, as well as other southwestern Michigan histories. In Kalamazoo, Josh Sanchez, News 8.
For nearly 2 decades, a Grand Rapids law firm has been offering local students an opportunity to reflect on the life and legacy of Dr. King through a contest.
This year's winner learned about the competition after reading The Mask by Maya Angelou, which his English teacher assigned his class to read.
6th grader Isaac Riscala was inspired to write a poem called The Torch, which he entered into the Warner Norcross and Judd MLK Social Justice Legacy Contest.
What inspires me about him is that he kind of started like a revolution, might I say, for Black civil rights. And I think that's really cool how he was able to change so much about that.
The contest is a collaboration between Warner and Grand Rapids Public Schools. It challenges 6th graders to connect Dr. King's legacy to a social justice issue they're passionate about.
Still to come, addressing housing disparities in one part of West Michigan. More about the work being done by one local nonprofit to help communities of color. A Muskegon area nonprofit is working to address the need for housing in communities of color and to get more people registered to vote. News 8's Kyle Mitchell explains the impact the organization is making.
With housing prices on the rise, Threads is looking to make sure more people have access to a safe place to call home.
Threads was inspired by systemic inequities within our community, and also really just a coalition of people who really wanted to promote growth.
Maria McIntosh is the president and CEO of the nonprofit that was founded in the Muskegon area over concerns about housing affordability.
The organization became a 501c3 in 2022, and our goal is simply to counter the negative effects of gentrification, and we do that in 3 main ways: impactful community engagement, pathways to homeownership, and entrepreneurship.
One of the group's biggest projects is the proposed King Village development in Muskegon Heights. The plans call for converting the former Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School, along with building homes and retail space.
The property's 8.4 acres. The first part of the plan would convert the former elementary school into apartments and then add new buildings around it.
When I look out the office window, it's like a soar high.
Paula Addison has called Muskegon Heights home for more than 25 years.
When I heard about it, I was excited. I'm like, good, we can help the community and they can help us.
She owns Paula's Learning Center across the street from the school that closed in 2014, a place where she once worked.
I started off as a lunch aide. By the time I left there, I was a Head Start teacher. I just have a lot of history in that building from the time that I have been here, as well as my kids.
Addison hopes the project will be able to give new life to the neighborhood.
Right now, it looks kind of sad, so I think it would brighten it up and make you feel like at least you have life.
In addition to its home ownership programs, the organization worked to get more people registered to vote through the Threads Educate and Empower Youth program, a nonpartisan effort that traveled across Michigan ahead of the 2024 election.
It's all about amplifying voices, specifically youth voices within our community.
While the group has only been around for a few years, it hopes to make an impact that will last generations.
Anybody can do this kind of work. Anybody can live out their purpose. Anybody can show up in the community. Anybody can own a home. You know, you just really gotta, have people that's looking out for you. You looking out for yourself and have an open mind to grow.
In Muskegon Heights, Kyle Mitchell, News 8.
Throughout this month, we are sitting down with Black elders in our community to gain valuable perspective from their life experiences. Katie Easton has worked for the Grand Rapids Public School District for 57 years. 50 of those were spent protecting Grand Rapids kids as a crossing guard at the corner of Wealthy and Henry. Here's what she said Black History Month means to her.
As a Black person, it means a lot to me. I've learned a lot about our history, and I think kids should know our history and where we come from, how we did things.
We also sat down with Annette Radin, who's lived in West Michigan her entire life. She worked for the Grand Rapids Parks and Rec Department for 25 years and GRPS for more than 30. For the last 5 years, Radin has been creating art and giving it away to people in the community. She remembers when Grand Rapids elected its first Black mayor, Lyman Parks.
His daughter and I are the same age, and we were good friends. And I'd go over there, and he had the maps out, and he'd have people over. And I was, what is he doing? He's going to be mayor one day. I know, no, he's not. And finally, he wasn't there, and I couldn't believe it. It was different. It was politically, it was a time when people didn't see people like him on anything very big. And when he got to be mayor, it was like, wow, this is something.
There's another elder who's been making an impact for more than 50 years with the Clippers. Up next, we'll show you how he's built a legacy by creating a safe space for people in the African-American community at his barbershop. Many businesses along Grand Rapids' Wealthy Street corridor have come and gone.
There's one in particular, though, that stood the test of time for more than 50 years and has become a home to many in the Black community. Beyond these glass windows lies decades of history.
The Lady Love, 1117 Wealthy Street. Been here since 1972. These are much of my friends and my families.
Reminders of loved ones and lives lost.
And these are some of the awards that I received.
And a man whose love and dedication for the community is felt through the chair.
It's like home.
Steve Butler has been coming here for 40 years.
I get cut every week. I gotta be neat.
And he knows the impact the people holding the Clippers can have.
It's like a country club for us. You know, we come and talk and laugh and talk about sports and everything.
I call him Uncle Price. I can learn a lot from him because he's been around longer than I've been living. So he's a lot of knowledge.
Timmy Dickens met Price through his dad and goes to him whenever he needs a cut.
Oh, it's very important to me because if I can't get myself a razor line, I might cut my throat. You know, Price got to do it.
Through the decades, Price's wisdom, a steady flow.
I always try to keep doing different things to make things better for the Black community.
As a child, he dreamed of becoming a barber.
I started cutting hair when I was like almost 10 years old. Used to ride around to different places in our neighborhood to cut, different people's hair that I knew.
He ran House of Beauty before buying the space and turning it into Lady Love.
It's like a home to me, this area. And I became something like, you might almost like, they call the godfather of the area because I was very well known with a lot of people.
More than 50 years of building relationships.
We talk about sports, talk about business and about how the economy is and just personal things. A lot of young people that come through here, I always try to mentor to them, how successful they can be if they put their mind to it.
Of course, he's had his ups and downs.
At one time, I had property next door that got burned down in 1990. We ran across racism in our business, but then, like I said, we just sort of stuck together and just let it overcome.
Through countless changes, Lady Love remains. And, Price plans to do the same.
I tell the Most High take me home. A lot of times.
Thanks so much for joining us for our Honoring Black History special.
You'll find more of our Black History Month stories on our website, woodtv.com. Have a good night.